Hello, and the wait is finally over. It's finally here. The Rasasi Hawas Fire is here, and this came through just about a couple of hours back, and I wanted to share my initial impressions with you. I wanted to let you know what this particular fragrance smells like, how this could be a good fragrance for this particular season, and does it replicate any other fragrance, and we'll talk about all of those things except for the entire lasting part of this particular fragrance, because that's not something that we are able to do right now, because this came just about a couple of hours back. And like I said, these are my just very basic first thoughts about this particular fragrance, and I must say it is pretty impressive. It is definitely impressive and something that you should definitely consider getting this particular season, because there has been a price drop of good $500 on this particular fragrance within a week's time. So something to watch out for. Let's get into this particular fragrance's initial impressions and talk about it. If you kind of like the content that I bring, please definitely hit the like button, subscribe and share. My name is Rodney. You're watching the Perfume Experience. Let's get going right after this intro. Right, welcome back. So very basic packing. Okay, it's typical like your Hawas packing. The only thing is this particular box has got a gradient which I think was not there with the other fragrances. If you look at, there is kind of a marking that you will see, and the same snake like texture, but this has got a nice mark to it. Okay, pretty nice. Rasasi 100 ml Eau de Parfum concentration. Now the bottle itself I felt was very well made. Okay, the entire flanker looks very nice. I feel it is a little like the Hawas black bottle. It kind of looks like that. So this is how it is. Let's show you. Very close by. This is how it looks. Nice gradient black and red colored thing, and the cap is very nice. And because this is the initial impressions, just about a couple of hours back, I did put across this particular fragrance on my hand to kind of smell what it feels like, because I couldn't resist it. Okay, so I will do the spray again just for our discussion, and you can definitely see it actually leaves a pretty good amount of oil concentration. So that is something very nice. The sprayer is fantastic. And let's give it a few seconds for the fragrance to settle. And if you heard that screeching noise, that's my son. It's very difficult to shoot these things in the daytime with the kids awake, and I've been doing it all across this week. Every day there's been one video coming out literally, and it's a kind of a way of connecting me to you to talk about what are my thoughts about some of these fragrances. All videos might not be for everybody, but definitely there would be somebody who would benefit from these videos. That's the idea behind doing. Whenever there's time, let's do this. When I'm busy, I'll have to let go of it, right? Anyways, what do I smell? So the first thing that you smell is a good amount of spiciness. Okay, so there is a fantastic amount of spicy element that you kind of smell. One, that is really something that to observe. Second is the amount of loudness this particular fragrance has. This is just out of box today, and it is screaming when you spray it on. Just 3 sprays and it is super loud. Okay, so it is a loud, I would say this is almost a beast like fragrance. I think it would be, because it is super loud. Now in terms of smell, what do you get? I get a sense of spiciness. Now the kind of spiciness that you would associate with a fragrance like, let's say for example, if you think about Ignite Oud, okay, and if you think about Ignite Oud definitely has got a good amount of tart leather, okay, animalic leather. Now that leather vibe, and if you mix it up with, let's say for example, a fragrance that's got light hint of sweetness, but a lot of freshness, like a minty freshness or a green herb like freshness, something like that you would smell in a fragrance like Dear Sauavge. Okay, now Dear Sauavge has got that kind of a freshness, the green like thing. That note along with the leather note is something that you smell. Okay, along with this you do get a sense of a nice floral vibe. Okay, there is a good sharp floral vibe that you definitely smell. That's predominantly could be a jasmine note. And then you do get a sense of minty freshness, like I said, that is something there. So that is the note breakdown of this particular fragrance, and that's why probably why they called it fire, because of the robust, fiery, spicy element that you kind of get, which is very nice. Now it kind of also reminds you of another fragrance. After about 20-30 minutes time, it reminds you of another fragrance like Latani, or if you think about Blue Lavan Bakur, both of these fragrances are actually alternates of the popular Imperial Gissah Valley. Okay, Imperial Valley by Gissah. Now, Imperial Valley by Gissah, he is very high on the incense note. Okay, but if you look at the other side of that particular fragrance, there is a type of a freshness that you kind of get, a green herb-like freshness that's there on this particular fragrance, which is coming from probably also a citrusy element as well, and that is something that you will be able to relate to this particular Hawas Fire. Okay, so those are some things that I could figure out. Now, if you typically look at the notes of this particular fragrance, it talks about clear sage, it talks about marine mineral note and amber. I don't get all of that currently. Okay, so it definitely is not a marine fragrance at all, because marine would generally mean it could be salty in nature, which is not the case. Like if you think about fragrances like Latafas Atlas or Kenzo EDT or any of that, or Orthoparisi Megamer, you know, they have that salty marine note. It is not that. That note is not existing. Mineral note, when you think about it, you think about like Ganymede, for example, you don't get that, but there are slight hints of mineral vibe that you get, but not a lot. Okay, definitely not the marine vibe, at least you don't get that. There is definitely two elements on it. One, there is definitely a fruit element like apple. Okay, there is definitely that red apple kind of a vibe which you definitely get with that nice opening. And then of course you do get a citrusy, bitter citrusy element. Could be a lemon, could be a bergamot of some kind, or an orange of some kind. There is that element as well. Now, I have not been able to experience the dry down of this particular fragrance, so because it's been just a couple of hours, but as it transitions towards after the first hour mark, you kind of, you know, get a sense of some kind of a vanilla, powdery, woody kind of a dry down. Could be a driftwood, or could be some kind of a vanilla element. Okay, that is what I could gather from this particular fragrance at this point of time. Now, luckily, I did have the Eros Flame as well, and this is nowhere like Eros Flame. Now, the thing is, when you put on Eros Flame as well, just that first few seconds when you spray it, there you might find slight resemblance to Hawas, you know, the fire as well. Okay, just the few seconds, but we can ignore it because it is just a few seconds and then it kind of goes away. Eros Flame dry down is completely different. You know, the most part of the fragrance is completely different. You don't get that on this at all, nor is it like Dear Sauavge completely at all. So definitely no. It's just that green vibe, the freshness that you get in Dear Sauavge is very similar to how you kind of get it in Gissah's Imperial Valley. Okay, but Gissah's Imperial Valley has got a lot of that incense going, so if you minus that incense is what you kind of feel. So for me, this particular fragrance feels like Ignite Oud with the Gissah's Imperial Valley freshness. Okay, and a slight amount of fruitiness. Okay, definitely some nice apple fruitiness, and a very beautiful, very, very beautiful jasmine on this particular fragrance. That is absolutely the way I would describe this particular fragrance. It is a spicy, leathery, light floral, light fruity, a fragrance that's going into some kind of a vanilla, woody kind of a powdery kind of a dry down is what I would say. Absolutely great smelling fragrance. I was quite surprised. This is not what I expected, because I was reading the notes and I kept thinking mineral, amber, you know, salty. So I was thinking in my mind it could be like David of Cool Water or Kenzo EDT or something like that, but it actually is not. It's not got that mineral note, maybe slight hints of it, but then definitely not a marine salty fragrance, at least definitely not that. It is that would have meant it would have been more like, I don't know, more like a summer fragrance. But this, I feel, is an exceptionally good all year fragrance. Okay, this is something that you will be able to wear all year across, especially for folks who like Sauavge like DNA. Okay, or if you like a Gissah Valley type of a DNA, leathery, animalic leathery vibe like a, Ignite Oud. Yes, you will absolutely enjoy this. But I think you should be very cautious about putting the number of sprays. You do not want to do a lot of sprays if you're going to office, because this is killer loud. This is super smelling. It smells very, very nice in the air. This is not like your Hawas. It is not like Hawas Ice at all. It is completely different. I have not tried the black, which I will do very shortly, but the black has got that Aventus Absolute thing. Now, the Aventus Absolute or Nishane Ashivat is that DNA of that particular fragrance. If you smelled Aventus Absolute, Absolute also has got that sharp green kind of a vibe that we are talking about, but doesn't have the pineapple. Okay, so this doesn't have the pineapple vibe, but that freshness that you get is definitely probably derived from fragrances like Gissah's Imperial Valley or like the Sauavge line of DNA, because that's a very generic type of freshness. So you can't really say that it is a 100% Sauavge DNA as such, which Joy Amin Bhai also rightly said it is definitely not that kind of a fragrance. But overall, is this a good buy? Absolutely yes. So far, yes, my initial impressions definitely are very positive about this particular fragrance. Now the surprising thing is last week this particular fragrance was 4,750, 4,850 for the initial bookings, and we got 2 bottles. We are going to put it in decants. Now it is dropped down to 4,350. Okay, which is pretty good considering this is a fantastic buy at that particular price point. If you're looking for a very versatile, fresh, spicy, very less sweet type of a leathery, beautiful fragrance that you can wear for all year across, this will be fantastic. I will keep this for some more time, do a lot of wearings, and then tell you about the lasting, and then give you my entire review of this particular fragrance. But on the whole, yes, this is simply amazing and it's a good release. I do see a lot of low negative points on Fragrantica and all. That is primarily because of the notes of this particular fragrance. The notes of this fragrance have got people confused because it is nowhere like what the description of the fragrance is on Fragrantica. Somebody even went ahead and compared it to Baccarat Rouge or something, which is Oud Satin Mood, sorry. It is absolutely nowhere like that. This is very much like if you have smelled Ignite Oud, you will definitely be able to relate to that leather note. If you have definitely smelled Gissah's Imperial Valley, Latani, Blue Lavans, Blue Bakur, or even Deer's Watch, then the green vibe is something definitely that you can relate to. There is a good amount of freshness, light sweetness, and there's a little bit of that fruit floral vibe that I was talking to you about. Overall, very beautiful fragrance. Very happy with this release. And if you like the video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe, and definitely share your comments. And I'll see you on another review. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.